Thank you. Is that enough time for break? All right, so today my talk gonna walk you through my learnings and research about voice design at Babylon. So I was a designer working in visual and UX experience in Texas Instruments before. And before I joined Babylon, I research and create a voice assistant focused on lifelong learning during users' waiting times. So at Babylon, I mainly focus on voice design. So Babylon's mission is to put an accessible and affordable health service in the hands of every person on Earth. So how should we achieve this mission through voice design? For voice design, one of the biggest advantage is user can operate the service hands-free. So we believe this will extend the accessibility of design and service. And today I will walk you through how we conduct research for our conversation and voice designs and how it differentiates from the general UX research. So before I start, I want to show you two videos. Hope that work.
Around your voice that can provide information, music, news, weather, and more.
Okay, cool. Alexa, how many teaspoons in a tablespoon?
1 tablespoon equals 3 teaspoons.
Alexa, put on my Saturday playlist.
Playing your Saturday playlist.
All right, so this is obviously Amazon Alexa's commercial when they first debuted in the UK, and it shows how voice assistant can be your handy companion in your daily life. And this is how future looks like. But in reality,
voice recognition technology in a lift in Scotland. You ever tried voice recognition technology? No, they don't do Scottish accents.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
11.
11.
You need to try an American accent. 11. 11.
This is Irish, you know.
so this is a perfect example of real life, especially like foreigner like me who have a obviously strong accent, always have these kind of issues when interacting with voice assistants. So I'm sure some of you have come across a similar issue before. That's why conducting research to understand the user and situation is really important for voice design. So, sorry, no more. And just like one of my favorite quotes from the co-founder of Google brand, Andrew. So he basically says, technology opens up lots of opportunities, but in the end, technology needs to be contextualized. So today, my talk, be more specific, I will focus on how we understanding the context and narrow down, then move on to uncovering the content ideas for voice design. So let's start with understanding context. Firstly, apart from the general user demographic we might get from those general user research, we also including some voice-related questions in our research. This includes what kind of voice technology a user have used before. This might include like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, or Samsung Bixby. And the frequency of use, when user use it, what kind of voice application or voice skills user have used, and where do user use it before. So in the commercial, you will be like in the kitchen or in an elevator. So for the research we conduct in Babylon, we also included additional questions focused on healthcare contact. And that includes what kind of health-related questions users have asked to their voice assistant, or what kind of voice skills they have used in their voice assistant, and fitness skills as well. So from our research, we found out that the number of people who have asked health-related questions is actually higher than we expected. It's a very interesting finding. So until here, above research actually help us to build up a concrete understanding of our users and provide us more possible context to work with. So how do we find out those contents, which means how user speaks in their daily conversations, how user speaks for their request, where to find inspiration when creating a voice assistant that assimilates users' daily conversations? Well, this will be like the tool set for voice designers. So just like those tool set for other designers, like visual designers always have like a Pantone color card or Pinterest. UX designers always visit websites like Dribbble or Behance for great work examples. So what's a tool set for voice designers? And as a voice designer, I actually looking for these 4 key areas when I'm looking for ideas. First one, most popular keywords used and most frequently question users have asked, or how did the user talk about it, phrase about it, and how did we reply for it? So where to look up for these key items? No matter if you are creating voice designs for a home assistant or a mobile app, it's really important to examine the current available data you have, what we can learn from our own business. So I have identified 3 lenses to look up for those key areas. The first one is data. So many companies who build a voice assistant start with a chatbot. For Babylon specifically, we have an in-app chatbot to help understand how users phrase their questions, what's their intent, and what's their request about. So we have analyzed those keywords and questions users have sent it to us. So this is a great source to look up for those key informations. But somehow, there's one thing you have to be careful is those information in the chatbot still stays in written language, which is a bit different from spoken language. So if you are a voice designer or working in voice design, make sure don't use those written language directly to spoken language. Second one, FAQ page. Obviously, this is the go-to place for the most frequently asked questions. So analyzing the digital analytics in this area, such as page view, unique visits, or bounce rate, will give us a general understanding of what's the most issues users have, or what's the go-to page user have visited in this page. This is like building the foundation of voice design and voice assistant. And customer support is also a great resource to conduct voice research. So the customer support team are the front line of Babylon. These people are closest to users' voice. So they talk to users every single day. They understand what's the most frequent complaints, what's the most frequently asked questions, and the information that users look for recently. Also, they have been trained to use a proper language to interact with users. So it's quite important to understand those guidelines, tone of voice, what customer support followed to answer user questions. So in order to understand how customer supporting facilitate conversations, I have shadowed and listened in on calls. And by listening to users in a call, it reveals things that analyzing chatbot queries might not be identified. So like I have discovered almost 80% of callers to Babylon's customer support are females. So you might ask me, what if you don't have a customer support team in your business? So think about what's the front line of your business or across the business. Let's say if you want to create a coffee business. So just sitting in Starbucks next to a counter to listen to how the counter interact with the users, then you will have a basic understanding of how counter facilitate the conversation, how they phrase the conversation, and how they answer those questions and take orders. Also, if you want to, let's say, build up a voice assistant for financial information, just phone in a financial advisor and talks about a topic you are interested, then you will have a general understanding of what kind of terminology they use and how they speak for this professional information. So apart from shadowing, conducting a workshop will be very useful as well. So in my experience, I always divided this kind of workshop to two parts. So the first part will be, again, about general information. So general information such as what's the most recent complaints about from user to customer support team, what's the most frequent asked questions. It's like questions about our brand, service, or it's a special request. In the second part, I will always focus on the design problem at hand. So how do users ask questions about it? Why do they want to ask for it? How customer support reply in an affirmative way? And how they turn down requests. Last one, interviews. So conduct an in-depth interview to understand how our users would say for the specific request and what's the most popular challenge when they are trying to request this service in the daily life. So again, this will help us understand the intent, the most frequently asked questions, and those general requests from our user themselves. And we have also conduct expert interviews. Use Babylon as example. We have conduct interview with GP, nurse, or clinician to understand how they facilitate the consultation, how they use the professional terminology in the consultation, or how they phrase those answers to patients, to our users. So you might ask me, what kind of experts can be recruited in other professions? For example, if you are developing a voice application or skills for cocktails, so trying to think about what's the experts in cocktails. Who's the expert in cocktails? It's a bartender, right? So recruiting bartender in a workshop to understand, or in an interview to understand how he facilitates the conversation, how he talks about his recipe, how he's having a conversation with customers while making drinks, what's his professional terminology about, will be really helpful. So about three lenses really help us, voice designers, to generate a well-rounded understanding of how users speaks about their request, and also in a way help us to understand how can we reply to those requests. So, final takeaway for the research and learning today. Understand the context, set up the scene. Experience is the best teacher, which means know who is at the front line of interacting with your users. It's either customer support, either counter, or either it's like a bartender. And last one, always be mindful of your daily conversations. So trying to be conscious and be mindful when you start a conversation with any people from any professional service to think about why they choose a specific vocabulary, why they phrase their questions, and why they reply you in this specific way. That will be really helpful if you want to build up any voice application or skills. That's it. Thank you.